All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Botketo. Welcome in, Fitcoin, Bitech Club. Welcome in, JB. Welcome in, CD. Welcome in, TNB Willa, and Mikey. What is up, everybody? Thank you guys so much for joining. We are going to cover Bitcoin today, some of the more macro analysis that is possible. We covered some of this yesterday. And then we'll go into some of the lower time frames and some altcoins as well. So guys, Bitcoin has lost our macro value area high of our 2025 range. Massey33, good afternoon to you too. Thank you for joining. Thank you for stopping in here. And unfortunately, and CC, welcome in as well. Unfortunately, guys, this is getting close to being pretty bearish for Bitcoin. So you can see this is our macro 2025 range here. This has been the fair value for Bitcoin within its fair value for all of 2025. And for the last few months, last couple of months, really since July, mid-July, we have broken above the value area high of our macro range, and we've been forming a range up here. Now, unfortunately, this range does look a little bit bearish to me because you can see not only as far as price action and market structure goes, we have that topping reversal pattern of a head and shoulders or a model 2 distribution pattern. But if we look on the daily time frame, let's zoom out to that daily time frame, and we look at, as this range has been forming, we are forming bear divs on the chart, higher highs, lower highs in the price action. But really, since we first attempted the breakout of the value area high, the macro value area high, we are forming money flow is draining out of the asset, forming bear divs on money flow, and money flow is crossed over into the red and is continuing into the red as this range is developing. Now, I've shown you guys this before in the past, but the last time this happened was back here. Let me hide this real quick. Back in our prior all-time high range at the beginning of the year. This range here was our prior all-time high range. And as the range was forming in here, we were developing bear divs on the chart confirmed on the daily time frame, and money flow was draining out of the asset as the range was forming. And you can see shortly after crossing into the red is when we finally had that distribution out of the range and broke it to the downside. So we do have something very, very similar fractal wise happening on the charts now, where we do have another topping range here. Market structure has been broken, bearish market structure, by taking out these daily lows. We broke market structure bearishly. Because we broke market structure bearishly, we now have to expect that a lower high could come in on the charts before another lower low. And so with the bearish divs confirmed on the chart here and the money flow draining out of the asset and crossing into the red as this range is developing, we could see a failed auction breakout of this. This is a failed auction breakout on the daily time frame of our 2025 macro value area high. Now, if we start to break this structure, this upper range to the downside, and do not bounce from 105K and then reclaim that value area high pretty quickly, then we could see a much, much larger drop all the way potentially down into the low 70s and see a distribution take place for a few months, just like we saw in here, a distribution take place for a few months after making that topping reversal range, seeing a failed auction breakout on the daily time frame of our macro 2025 fair value for Bitcoin. What is up, Omar Bate? R Pink, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for modding. Appreciate you being here. And Samuel S, what's up, Samuel S? We'll cover ETH as well. Yeah, we'll cover some of the altcoins. We'll cover some Ethereum. So here's the thing, guys. On Bitcoin, we are towards the end of the week. We know that our weekly candle close is going to be very important this week. And if we close our weekly candle back inside this volume profile, it could signal that we could see a full fill to the downside of that volume profile and continue just ranging in this area, potentially even coming down to take out the range lows at 74.4 before making another attempt at an all-time high. Now, that is only going to be the case for me if we start to break down from 105K of support. We know that at 105K, we have some very, very important support here that we could see that three-wave complex correction to come down to this level, hit up into that level, and then we would want to see a impulse out of this, a 5-wave impulse out of that, particularly wanting to come up to break new all-time highs. Now, I do think we are getting close to the end of this bull cycle. I really do, based off of the technicals, the monthly bear divs, the weekly bear divs, the daily bear divs, distribution pattern forming on the daily time frame on this range here. But I do think that we have a couple more months, and unless we lose 105K and start to close like the weekly candle below or even daily candles below 105K, we're not in the worst spot yet. This descending channel here has been highly respected. You can see both on the highs and the lows, and the midline has been respected. So there is a potential for a fake out to come down to the bottom of the channel. I really don't want to lose this anchored VWAP. This anchored VWAP from 74K, if we come look at this anchored VWAP here from 74K, from our lows, that is our trend, volume weighted trend, I guess you could call it. So if Bitcoin is going to maintain overall macro strength and continue in an uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows, then we want to bounce from that area. We want to see that area of volume support, that trend volume support, hold, and that would give us a good signal that we are going to actually work our way up to continue the overall macro bullish trend. If we lose that 74K support, then that is going to say, okay, maybe this entire trend, the volume, the trend is now weakening. And if you break that and flip it into resistance, then yes, you can expect the trend reversal to be in. We actually saw something very, very similar to that on smaller time frames yesterday. If we zoom in on the 2-hour chart, well, we were looking at our two more local anchored VWAPs. We had our anchored VWAP from the all-time high, and we had our anchored VWAP from the 107.2K lows. And you saw yesterday when we broke that, instead of holding that anchored VWAP as support, we broke it to the downside, came up and back tested it, and then guess what? Once we rejected on the back test, waterfall down to new lows. And this is something, a very smaller fractal of what we could see happen if we lose the 105.7K anchored VWAP. Now, a wick past it to hit that naked monthly point of control, perfectly acceptable. Even coming down and closing a couple 4-hour candles below it, I think would be acceptable. Closing daily candles below it is going to be a big warning flag, a big signal for me, technically, that this is going to show continued weakness. Now, the other major thing that we have to look at is this value area high at about 109.9K. This is our 2025 fair value range. And if we do start to close candles back inside, weekly candles back inside this range, and today we're actually doing something very, very important right now that I'm going to go into. We've fallen back underneath the macro value area high. And you can see that as this white line right here at 109.9, roughly. And you can see we have tested it. We had the immediate drop, the immediate back test, rejection, kept forming a range, and then just now today, back test again, attempted to break above it, but rejected, and now we're falling here. So I do think that Bitcoin, actually, you could have triggered a scalp short position based off of taking out these micro range highs and now losing them. This micro range high here, we had a sort of liquidity grab of those range highs, and now we're dumping here. And we're in a mini range, a micro range, this micro range here between our next local level of support being that 886 Fibonacci and a daily level. Let's see, where's that daily at? And a daily level of support. If I can find them, there we are. At 108.250, let's say, 108.5 to 108.250. So, you know, you could have scalped this short just to come down to hit this support level, and then we might get a little bit of a reversal from there. But it is not looking too good here for Bitcoin. Today, coming up, breaking the micro range highs that started forming yesterday, and now we are starting to drop here. Now, I do have to say this. We are at our channel midline. You can see this dotted white line that's kind of diagonal and down here. That's our channel midline of our bigger descending channel that has been forming over the past month or so. This bigger descending channel. And if we are going to continue grinding down in this big descending channel, then the midline is important locally. And we are trying right now to break above that midline. If we can hold it in the back test now, I do think we can make another shot up here, at least a local shot up to make another lower high overall. Also, if we look from the highs, the lower highs that were put in at 118K. Now, this resistance was a key resistance that we were watching on the chart ahead of time. We were watching, it was a naked weekly point of control, naked daily point of control, a swing failure pattern of these internal highs here, point of control, golden pocket. We did have a perfect rejection from that, and we started some very impulsive price action to the downside from here. And if we're looking at this impulsive price action here, at first I was looking at this as a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, 4, 5 that could have been done. And then you want to see that 3-wave corrective move, and then we have to start another 5-wave impulse to the downside, potentially bringing us to 105K. But it does look like we could even count this, all of this is a wave 1, because remember, within your wave 1, you're going to see a 5-wave subcount, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 2, and we could be in a wave 3 now with it ending where we were at, or because wave 3s are generally longer and more aggressive than your wave 1s, this could be the very start of a wave 3. A wave 1, maybe we're going to retrace up towards the golden pocket in a wave 2, wave 3, 4, 5. That would all be your third wave within the bigger impulse down. We would then get a retracement in a fourth wave, and then you would get another fifth wave all the way down, and potentially even coming down to 96.5K where your macro POC is. So we don't know yet for sure. All I'm looking at now is playing this local range. We have two ranges that we're looking at really primarily. We have our 2025 macro value area high range, our macro fair value range, which we're flirting with the value area high of that range right now. And then if we go ahead and turn on our intermediate range, which is the last couple months of price action here, we are losing this range. And remember, this is our distribution range, guys. This is our range that formed after the breakout of that value area high. And this range could be considered, in my eyes, a distribution range based off of that money flow leaving out of the asset and the bear divs that are forming as we are forming this range. Also, if you look here on Market Cipher B, from the beginning of the range, your first high of the range, to the third high, maybe the tap 3 of a Model 2 distribution, and we look at the money flow. Money flow has bear divs, lower highs on the money flow peaks between the beginning and the end of this range. And to me, that is a telltale sign that this could be a distribution range that is about to break to the downside. Now, also, when you think in terms of head and shoulders patterns, pattern trading here, if we are seeing this as a head and shoulders, we did break market structure bearishly on the daily time frame, and we just take a relative measurement of that head and shoulders. Let's just throw it to about here, and we put that on the breakdown of the range. I mean, 96K, guys, 96 to 96.5K is the breakdown of that range of the head and shoulders. And if we turn that macro volume profile back on, you can see where are we going to end? The POC. Also grabbing internal liquidity. So this is why it's a very, very tense time for Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is at a major decision point. The weekly close this week is going to be hyper important. I do think that we could see that weekly candle close below the value area high just to come down on Monday, tap this, but we need to get back above. If we have 2 weekly candle closes below this value area high, to me, I am going to give it a far greater probability of distribution to the downside. Okay, let me go ahead and jump in the chat real quick. Sudeep, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining. David Brumblebee, Brumblelow, thank you so much. Yeah, not financial advice. Also, guys, please hit the like button. If you get any sort of insight into the markets from this video, please hit the like button for me. Also, if you'd like, share this stream with any of your friends or family that you might think is interested. I believe we get a bull run. It'll be in 2026. My concern is very deep retrace from here. Really hard to, yeah, it is hard to say what's going to happen, you know? So here's the thing. According to the 4-year cycle, which has never been wrong, we are close to the end of the bull market. You know, October, November is the end of the bull market as far as timing goes, if we're following the 4-year cycle, which so far has never been wrong. But there is a big fundamental change that has happened with Bitcoin in this cycle, being the fact that institutional money has now entered the scene, and we have spot ETFs by some of the largest corporations in the world that are changing the way Bitcoin trades. And it could fundamentally change the 4-year cycle theory and a bear market every 4 years based off of this 4-year cycle theory. So it is possible that we do see a retrace, maybe through the first quarter of 2026. And then starting in, April of 2026, we get that big push up. Remember, guys, we are looking I covered this in yesterday's video, but as far as our more macro time frame analysis goes, let's just jump onto the 2-day chart here. We had our 5-wave impulse to the upside on the weekly time frame from the beginning of the bull market. We had our 5-wave impulse. 5-wave impulse ended in mid-January. We had a multi-month correction to the downside, and then we come up to hit the 1.382, which is a flat target for if we're going to see a bigger flat correction where you hit that 382 and then come all the way back down to take out your lows of your first wave down at 74,500 on Binance here or 74,400 on Coinbase. This is absolutely a possibility to see. After completing this 5-wave impulse, you oftentimes will see a larger corrective move. Now, in the most bullish scenario, that corrective move is a flat move that stays up towards the top of your impulse. But in regular sharp corrections, you actually do see that bigger ABC correction that occurs where you have an impulse down, you have a retracement up to the golden pocket, and then you generally retrace down in your C wave to the golden pocket, pulled from the lows of the impulse to the highs of the impulse. Now, we are not entertaining that now based off of our first move down that we saw. Let's put that golden pocket on. And then we also need to make that based off log scale because that is more than a 100% move. So in worst case scenario, you could have retraced to 30K. And of course, 30K is also the most important support resistance flip on the chart, with it being the support through this whole entire bull cycle up here, being resistance at the beginning of the bull market. But we're not expecting a move down to 30K because of this first push down, this first months of push down here. It was not a clear impulsive move to the downside. It was more of a WXY complex correction. And because that was a complex correction, we could be looking at this as a much larger complex correction in here where you push down in your W, you have your X here, and we're going to see our Y come all the way back down to take out the lows of W here in that flat complex correction that lasts 9 months to a year or so. This is honestly a scenario that I still have been following it on the charts as one of my primary scenarios for a long time. And if you guys have been around in my live streams, I've talked about this every time I talk about macro price action. I bring this scenario up, but I still am just following locally. As traders, we play locally and we map out and get ready for the bigger macro price action. So just be aware that if we could fall down to take out the lows at 74K, and you can see we have very important support there. Of course, rejecting after seeing a failed auction of the midline here. If you lose that macro midline, you're going to come down to your band of support. And if we look at this Pitchfork, by the way, let's just zoom out onto the 3-day time frame, and let me turn off some of these levels here. This Pitchfork has just been so well respected throughout the entire bull market. You can see here from the very beginning of the bull market, came up to the very first part of the lower band, rejected, made a lower high. We came up to the upper part of the band, rejected, flat correction in here. That's kind of what we could see here. Look at this is a perfect example. Push down, come up, take out your highs of your initial highs, and then you come down, you take out the initial lows. This is a flat correction, which we could be seeing up here, a flat correction up here now, a bigger one. And after seeing that flat correction at the very lower band of the Pitchfork, we broke above that band, we back tested that band, flipped it to support, and then this is when we made our great run to make a new all-time high. We came up to the Pitchfork midline. You can see once we got to that Pitchfork midline, we spent a lot of time up there trying to break it. Break it here, break it here, break it here, rejection all 3 times. And of course, once you reject, what's going to happen? You're going to drop all the way back down to your major Pitchfork level of support again. Drop down to the band, it held the support. Now we make another run at trying to break that midline. This time we do break above it, but we formed a failed auction distribution range above it. And sure enough, we saw the money flow leaving, we saw the bear divs, and we broke down, we distributed down. Now here, this bounce at 74K, for this Pitchfork, there was nothing there, but this is a multi-cycle Pitchfork. This goes back to our last cycle, pulling the Pitchfork levels were from the COVID lows to our 65K highs down to our bear market lows in 2022. Now, if we look at that 74K low, there was actually something there that was very, very important, and we will go to that real quick. You can see this is a Pitchfork based off of our wave 3 impulse, that 5-wave count that I just showed you of this being a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. In our wave 3, which is usually your most impulsive, explosive, volume-filled push to the upside, we had, and this is also the most important part of the impulse, right? This is like the structure of the impulse, the most important part. So when we pull that fib from the lows of wave 3 to the highs of wave 3 to our correction lows of wave 4, you can see that now we have a trend to look at for our fifth and final wave. We have a trend to follow, and sure enough, this Pitchfork has been really highly respected. I've had this on my chart for about a year now. We pulled it right after August of 2024, right after we made these lows, and that's how I knew to take profits up here when we were hitting the top. We also, so you can see here though, what the point I'm trying to make is, where did we find a bottom at 74K? Well, we found a bottom right on that Pitchfork band of support. And of course, just like the other Pitchfork, if you reject from one Pitchfork level, you're going to work your way down. And actually, you see we rejected here, came down to the Pitchfork band of support, held it, came up again, rejected again, came down to the Pitchfork band of support. But this time when we came down, let's zoom in onto the daily time frame. This time when we came down, we wicked past it and kind of never really reclaimed it. We formed a range right underneath it. And that last back test of it here, when we rejected, whoop, drop. And we actually dropped through the Pitchfork midline. Now, if any of you remember, this little weird push up that we saw here was on a Sunday. It was on a weekend. And that was when Trump tweeted about the Bitcoin global reserve, or Bitcoin reserve. And so we got a little bit of a manipulation news pump to push up above it. Once we did, we tried to backtest it, but we created a big 3-wave correction here. And really, ultimately, it was kind of manipulation that we had this price action above the midline. But after we lost the midline, you can see here we backtested it once, rejected, backtested it twice, rejected, backtested it 3 times, rejected. And after your third rejection, guess what? You're going to drop down to the next major level of Pitchfork support. And so, you know, and then if you work your way up to the upper band, reject the upper band, come down to the midline, reject or bounce from the midline, come up to the upper band again, upper band, and we're rejecting the upper band. And now we've come down to the midline. That was where our 107.2K bounce was a couple weeks ago. Perfectly hitting that midline. Let me get in here a bit better for you guys. Perfectly hitting that midline. Once we hit that midline, we got a 10K bounce all the way up to 118K and made that lower high. So we're losing the midline. Not a good sign to see there. Losing the midline. And going back to our more macro Pitchfork here, the midline is what we're dealing with again here on this multi-cycle Pitchfork. So we've tried to get above the midline in 2024. We couldn't. We had a multi-$1,000 drop, a multi-month and multi-$1,000 drop. Formed a failed auction range, distribution range above it, multi-month, multi-$1,000 drop. Again, a third time. Now remember, guys, on these third taps, just like we saw here, after the third tap of the midline, when we didn't, we saw the big dump, right? Well, we're on our third tap right now of our big Pitchfork midline here on our multi-cycle. And if we do see a break of this distribution range, that's when we could see the big drop after the third tap. So just be aware that this is a real possibility, and technicals on the charts are suggesting that it's not only a possibility, but somewhat of a probability. Now, I do think we are going to make one more new all-time high. I don't know if it's going to be after this big 3-wave corrective flat correction, or if it's going to be hold 105K, make one more run at it, and then see it. So we'll see what happens here in the next coming weeks and months. But just be aware, guys, like this is bearish. This is bearish. There's no question about it. When we came up and we rejected our golden pocket at 118K, hidden bear divs printing on high time frames, that means continuation, and the continuation of the trend. The local trend was a downtrend because we broke market structure here. So just be aware of that. Okay, let's see. Let me go through the chat here. Sudeep, welcome in. Thank you guys for modding for me. Thank you for joining. You nailed it. Pronunciation. Awesome, man. I'm glad I'm so horrible with names. So please, you guys, if I ever get your name wrong, don't take it personally. I never mean to disrespect anyone in here. Even if they're being rude, I don't do that. So ZC, thank you for joining, man. Bro, you should post every time you're live in advance in the advanced channel. Yes, so here's the thing, ZC. Jason asked me, and I totally respect this and I understand this, because I do have a different I have my own community now with my Telegram community, and because I'm not an actual coach in there, I know at one point I was going to be a coach with Jason Casper's team. He doesn't want me posting my videos. He used to let me do that. He used to let me post my videos when I make videos and post them in his Discord. And some people thought I had unfair treatment. Just as a regular, member of the channel, me being able to post my content and other people's not being able to, there was some politics and some complaints about it. So he kindly asked me, hey, can you just not post anymore when your videos or your content? He said, you can still post your technical analysis, your charts and stuff like that, but I'd appreciate it if you don't do that. And I totally respect that. I totally understand that. It's a different community. It's his thing. So I don't post in the advance. And I do try to let you guys know, I pretty much have a set schedule of Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I stream. Now, on Mondays and Wednesdays, I usually start to make a video around market close, whatever time that is in the world to you, and then I post it right after I'm done with the video. But yeah, so that is, I try to keep you guys updated as much as I can. Just know that, it's been kind of crazy lately too with the price action. We've been getting very boring ranges followed by very explosive price action and then back to boring. But yeah, so anyways, guys, Bitcoin here is in a local range. Now, if we go back to the Coinbase chart, we did confirm a short position just earlier today. If you would have scalped this short, piercing above this high, attempting to break back above the macro value area high and losing that level. Now it is highly probable that we come take out the lows of the range, and we have equal lows down here. And we also have support right underneath that with our daily and our 886 levels. So you can see pretty much equal lows here. And I do think that Bitcoin is now likely to come down to at least hit that support. Now, once we hit that support, we are going into the weekend. We really want to see at least a bigger three-wave corrective move here. And then we might get that last impulse down to 105K. But we might have a little bit of a relief rally due soon. If we just keep continuing to form sideways ranges, take out the high of the range, and then dump, that is a possibility. So it could be, let's actually do this real quick. Let's grab a bars pattern. And let's look at this little range here. Let's take this, and let's just squeeze this. In here, we could see something very, very similar to kind of what we just saw there, where we form that little range, take out the highs, and then dump straight through. So be aware that that has been our local trend. And after taking out these highs and rejecting from our anchored VWAPs, we're dropping. Well, remember, these anchored VWAPs were very, very key volume resistances. Well, what is another very key volume resistance? The macro value area high of our 2025 fair value. So we just rejected that right now after taking the liquidity of the highs, and it's probable that we continue dumping at least to the local support below 108.475 to about 108.250, which is where our daily level's at. Now, if we lose that, unfortunately, we do have some support that's coming in between, but not much to keep us down from coming to 105K. Always be aware of major SFPs. So, of course, we have the 107.250 swing failure pattern, because that is a more swing low on the charts, and we could just be looking at coming down there, grabbing that liquidity, and then coming right back up. That is always a possibility. But for me, I do think this 105K level down here is really, really important. And you can see every day that anchored VWAP is rising a little bit. So it might get up to about 106K or even 106.6 by the time we do get down there, if we kind of range for another few days and not actually hit our liquidity and our naked monthly. Now, the reason why 105K is so important to me, it's pretty much exactly at 105K, because if we come in here and we turn on our naked monthly points of controls, we have a very high time frame naked monthly point of control that's coming in right under 105K. And that's also where our internal liquidity is. And if you remember this liquidity, I talked about this yesterday, even though it's an internal liquidity grab, that liquidity grab is super important, because look at what happened. We had our big push up, and then right after making that low, that's when we saw our real parabolic price action. So there are a lot of longs open from this stretch here that have their stop losses below that low. And there is a lot of liquidity. Also, if we look at our heat map and we come into our heat map and we look at like the last month of price action here on the heat map, you will see that we do have a significant amount of liquidity down into that 105K support level. Actually, yeah, 106K. And if we actually look at even more price action here. Yeah, so I guess really, our major liquidity is below our lows, and that's what we expect, because everyone that longed this last 3-week rally, relief rally up to 118K, their stops are going to be below those lows. So, of course, now that we are so close to those lows, it is highly probable that we do come take those lows on more macro timeframes. That doesn't mean we won't see small bounces along the way before coming down. And with, we're not guaranteed to come down to 105K. The more this anchored VWAP gets outside of this box of support, because you can see when I first drew this box of support, it was right about here, right about September 5th. And the anchored VWAP was literally in perfect confluence with that naked monthly point of control. But we spent a few weeks, and now it's rising a little higher. Actually, what would be nice to see is to see a range or a relief rally over the weekend, maybe even early into next week. And then if we get that drop mid next week, by then this thing could be up a little bit higher here, and it would be closer of an SFP into anchored VWAP. That would be so nice to see. And guys, the thing is, we have not hit this anchored VWAP on Coinbase. Now, Coinbase volume levels are the levels that I follow the most. I know on some other exchanges, I'll show you in a second, on Bybit, we did hit it once, but you can see here, this is a naked anchored VWAP. Since we have made our 74K lows, it has not been tested yet. So our trend, our macro trend volume support has not been tested yet on Coinbase. Now, if we do go to Bybit here, you can see that Bybit actually did test that anchored VWAP when we came down to our Pitchfork midline. I believe it kind of tested it. I don't know if it was actually hit. That's the big thing here. Let's check this. Yeah, it wasn't actually hit even on Bybit here. So we really haven't tested it since breaking the the 74K lows. And anytime you have a macro corrective move, and I would say this whole move up has been a macro impulse to the upside. Now, if that impulse is done and you're going to have a bigger corrective move, oftentimes in that corrective move, you'll at least test that volume trend to see if it's going to hold. And if it does, guess what? You can expect to continue pushing up. Very similar. Let me show you guys a perfect example of that with Ethereum. So first off, let me hide this one. Now on Ethereum got that big low that we made. We had a pretty nice push to the upside here. And then when we got our drop, we dropped back down and we tested that trend and it held as support. Yes, we wicked past it to hit a local golden pocket, but you can see once we tested that trend and confirmed it was going to hold as support, boom, explosive move to the upside. So now we're looking for something very similar on Bitcoin. It's just Bitcoin's testing it later on. Okay, let me check the chat here real quick, and then we will go into some of the altcoins. We'll go into Ethereum. We'll go into Solana. We'll go into the big ones. Guys, I think this thing is going to keep dropping until we get to at least our local support below, taking out the range lows into our local support below. Now, this could be a good scalp relief rally long. And if we're coming down there, we do have some very nice bull divs forming on the chart. So if we take out the lows, you can see here we would have lower lows on the price action. Look at all these higher lows that would be coming in here. If you have something like that, money flow curving to the upside, crossing into the green, very nice already confirmation to look for a long position into support. 1 hour time frame, very nice, and money flow overall curving up here. Look at NAMI though. Look how good NAMI looks. Multiple bull divs here, multiple drives of bull div, money flow coming up, crossing into the green here. We do have, if we come into that support level, we do have confirmation to at least look for a scalp from there. Okay, chat here, chat. Mark Dutch, what is up, man? Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Sudeep, I don't know if it's people being jealous. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. You know, I love Jason and that community so much. And I guess my technical analysis, because it's not matching theirs, some people just think they don't like it. You know, they also think Elliott waves are bullshit. And it's like, okay, if that's fine for you, that's fine for you. But, you know, everyone has a different style and it's not right or wrong. It's if it works for you, use your style. Do I post on X? No, I don't post on X, but I did just open a Instagram, Divine Hood Trading Instagram. I have not posted on it yet, but False Prophet and me were talking, and I opened it up kind of, you know, for some affiliate marketing stuff that we're thinking about doing. And I probably will do an X soon, and I'll probably get on the platforms and start, you know, diving deeper into this. ETH SFPs on 1 hour. I'm in a short from 44.50. Nice, man. Okay. Divine is actually a goat. I remember watching your videos at the beginning of the year when I had no idea how to trade. Even we have different strategies now, and I still constantly. Yeah, ZC, that's so awesome, man. And that's the cool thing. No matter what strategy you have, generally the TA, the important levels tend to line up either way, because all those different strategies, if they're working strategies, they do find those coherent levels where price is likely to react. And thank you for joining. Thank you for watching, and thank you for always supporting. How far do you want to take that short? So if I short scalp this morning, I would TP at least 75% of it at this local support level, around 108.475 to 108.250. I would leave some of it open in case we do this exact thing again, where we just take out the range highs and then dump straight through, because we could be taking out the range highs and dumping straight through. But yeah, that's what I would do. Friday night, 9:30 p.m. No dates, exhausted in bed alone. Life's great. Mark Dutch, you're with us, man. Life is great. Thank you for joining. Like, you know what? Sometimes being in bed early on a Friday night, like no date, no woman, you know, that's great, man. I should wear more pink, not our pink, but pink. Oh gosh. Yeah, the myth, the legend, Mark, in bed with pink bed sheets. Do I have open positions on Bitcoin? Yes, I'm still short from 117,600-ish. I am still in that short from 117.6. Remember, what was it, on Tuesday or last Friday stream? Remember, we were coming right up into this, and we were looking at that local short from this golden pocket touch. After breaking market structure bearishly, we came up to the golden pocket. Well, during the stream live, I said the only reason I'm not taking this is because the bullish CVD absorption. But literally like an hour after the stream ended, we broke that local value area low and we back tested it right here. And so I'm sorry, not 117.6, 117. No, maybe it was 117.6. Around, I think I did short this golden pocket then. But I also took a lot of profit when we came down to the 111K down in here. When we hit the golden pocket and we had that 3 drives pattern, I took a lot of profit on that short position, and I don't have much of it open yet left. So yeah. And the next take profit I'm going to have is the SFP of the lows, or if we don't SFP, I'll wait until we come down to 105. The anchored VWAP, 105, 106. First target's about 39.50. I'm assuming that's ETH. Okay. 100% killing it, bro. Needed to stick to one style, not opinions or politics. Absolutely. CC, I agree. First of all, thank you so much. I appreciate that comment. And yeah, find whatever style works for you. Even if it's pattern trading, which gets a really bad rap, But say you're profitable pattern trading, use that style if it's profitable for you and stick with it and don't give a crap what other people think. They're not the ones controlling your profit, your portfolio. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go into some of the altcoins. I will go into some of the altcoins you guys post in the chat here. But first, let's go into Ethereum real quick. So here's the thing, guys. Ethereum finally came down. And remember, we were talking about this all last week and all of this week, forming that distribution range up here at the top of the Pitchfork. Bearish divs, money flow draining out of the asset. Well, what happened? We dropped down. And this could be about what's about to happen to Bitcoin, by the way. We broke that distribution range down. And remember, we were looking to come in our bigger, in our corrective move, we were looking to come down in a 3-wave corrective move to potentially that 1.236, which was below the macro 382. Because remember, if we're in a wave 4 retrace of our bigger impulse to the upside, the targets are between the 382 and the 0.5 Fibonacci, which would be the preferred. I really want to come down there to that $3,500 mark, but we might have been done. We hit this. So let me clean this chart up real quick. What did I just do? We came down and we actually hit, you can see our macro 382 and our 1.236. Look at where the low was, exactly on our 1.236 Fibonacci extinction target. And that 1.236, remember, in a corrective move, in a 3-wave zigzag correction, here, similar to what we're looking at with Bitcoin, your most common target is between the 1-to-1 and the 1.236. Well, we came exactly down. Now, the 1-to-1 was above our 382. So remember, we thought it was more likely to come down to the 1.236 because it was below the macro 382. So not only as far as our bigger fourth Elliott wave, our fourth wave, which would be a corrective move down, we have now hit our minimum target of the macro 382, but we also perfectly, almost to the dollar, bounce from the target of the fib extinction here. And so we're seeing a nice little bounce here. The only thing that I'm a bit concerned about here is you can see we have what potentially could be a wave. What am I doing? We have a wave 1 here, a wave 2, where we did reject from the golden pocket. Perfect rejection. Remember, in a wave 2, a majority of the time you'll come up to the golden pocket and you'll reject from the golden pocket. That was also the value area high of this upper range here. If we look at this upper range, it was the value area high of this upper range. So we fell back inside the volume profile, back tested it as bearishly, and because we rejected, we can expect to at least come to value area low. But in a bigger corrective move down, wave 1, wave 2, all of this could be your third wave, guys. We could be bouncing in a third wave here. We can expect a fourth wave retrace before coming down in a wave 5, maybe to the bottom of the Pitchfork band, or even all the way down to 3,500 here. And so we can actually look at our wave 4 corrective targets. I'm actually long from this exact level. I'm long from 3860. 3868, I think, was my exact entry. And we did have some bull divs coming down into there. But if we're looking at where we're looking to end this, this potential fourth wave correction up within this third wave, we can pull a fib from the highs of wave 3 to the lows of wave 3. We're going to put on our targets of wave 4, which are between the 382 and the 0.5. And look at the 0.5. Look at what is right there. I really like how we have these range high liquidity from our prior range right into that 0.5. And we could see over the weekend a bigger corrective move to come up to that 0.5 Fibonacci. If you see a 3-wave corrective move up to that area and we start to reject from that area after taking liquidity, then yeah, we're going to most likely make a new low below those lows. So now the 382 is also important because it's the lows of the range, and it's an important support resistance flip here. It's kind of an important support resistance flip. So that is another area where if we start to reject from there, I'll take some profit. Very, very locally, what I'm seeing here is not looking good for Ethereum. You saw when I first put on this chart, I had a descending channel here. So let me zoom in onto the 30-minute chart. I was following this descending channel, but what happened is we attempted to break out of the descending channel and we rejected from our prior range lows. Remember those 4,200 lows that last week we were thinking of an SFP from. Lows here. Now that we've broken our prior range lows, these were our range lows, our prior range lows of our distribution range. Remember, that was this range here. So now that this range is breaking down and actually starting to distribute, we could distribute all the way to 3,500, but now we've lost those lows. We're back testing those lows and we're rejecting right now. That does signal more downside to come. Now, I don't know if we are going to see that 3-wave move up to the 382 or to the 0.5 because this 5th wave or this 3rd wave could not be done. But I do see a 5-wave count within the 3rd wave, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we do have 5 waves within the 3rd wave. So it does make sense that the overall bigger 3rd wave is in, and we're going to see a 4th wave correction either up to the 382 or to the 0.5. But right now, at least locally, we are rejecting our prior range lows, which is a bearish sign. It is a bearish sign. I would like to see, we need to see a 5-wave impulse in your wave A, then you get a retracement in a B, and then you get another 5-wave impulse in your C, and that would give you your bigger 3-wave corrective move up before making another bigger impulse down. And so that's just as far as Elliott wave analysis goes. But Ethereum, we do have some bull divs before I go on. Bull divs on the chart, money flows curving to the upside. The thing is, guys, we knew this box. We marked this box out ahead of time. We came down. Look at where even on the 4-hour chart here. Let me hide this channel again. Even on the 4-hour chart, no wicks. We wicked into the box, but no 4-hour candle body closes below our macro 382, which is at this 3869 level. And we wicked exactly to 3825, where that 1.236 Fibonacci extinction target is. I can show you guys how we got that. If you take your trend-based Fibonacci extinction, you go from the highs to the lows. That was your first corrective move down, and then you go back up to the lower highs. Look at where your 1.236 is. Now I have to take that and put that off a log scale, and you can see we came down and tapped those lows. So, and we're fighting with the prior lows and even that 1-to-1, which is not a good sign. But yeah, so Ethereum looking kind of weak here. At least we got a little bit more of a move than Bitcoin. So just like with Bitcoin, we were in this kind of micro range. Now Bitcoin's is completely sideways like this, and Ethereum's is more of a ascending channel. And those ascending channels, anytime you see an ascending channel like this on low volume, if you come in here and you turn on your volume, now we did have a nice spike towards the end, but remember, towards the end of corrective moves, you do see that spike in volume. So this could have been just the 3-wave move up. Now we're going to drop again. But I would like to see Ethereum. I do think Ethereum's going to continue a little bit higher because the 5th wave, because the bigger 3rd wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is done. It looks like it's done to me. So I am expecting a little bit more of a retrace up. And this could be even a 1, 2, 1, 2. We're trying to get up in our 3rd, and then we could see a 4, 5, 4, 5 to push up a bit higher here. So, and you can see very locally, we're trying to hold the back test of the channel. If we fall back and start to close like 15-minute candles or like 30-minute candles back inside of this channel, I think we're at least going to drop to the midline, which is where the VWAP is, but we're probably going to come take out the lows. Okay, so that is Ethereum. Now remember, overall, guys, the more macro time frame analysis on Ethereum, we are looking, let me zoom out to the 2-day chart. We were expecting a rejection from the top of this pitchfork based off of this distribution range that was forming up here. And we'd finally come take out our all-time highs. But we are looking overall on the macro time frame for Ethereum. Our impulse is not done yet. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. We're now in our wave 4 correction, either to the 382 or our wave 4 correction to the 0.5. And then we're expecting one more big 5-wave impulse to make new all-time highs, potentially up to, 5,500. I think it was. We looked at the targets yesterday, but that is where I will take my spot profits up here and I will potentially look for super swing shorts up there. But at the same time, right now is when you're looking for longs. You're at your 382. I would much rather prefer to come down to the 0.5 because that's where our 4-year range value area high is. But if we do come down there, I will be looking for a swing long to new all-time highs. Okay. Let me check the chat here. Yeah, please hit the like button. Okay, real quick, guys, I do want to announce the partners of the channel. So BYDFI is the main partner of the channel. They are a VPN-free and KYC-free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. They are doing really great initial deposit bonuses, 50% deposit bonus if you deposit just $100, and various 10 to 20% deposit bonuses, depending on how much you deposit. You will get a minimum of 20% discounts on trading fees if you sign up with my affiliate link. And you can also get up to 40% discounts on trading fees, depending on how much you deposit. And then they're offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses. But the big thing with BYDFI is I've partnered with BYDFI to create my own Telegram community where I do post some of my analysis, some of my trade setups. If you're interested in joining that community, it is free, but you do need to sign up with BYDFI using my affiliate link and deposit $100. Now, that's your money to trade with, and you will get the 50% deposit bonus on that. Once you do that, you can go into the link in the description, the Telegram link in the description, click on it, type in /verify, and then your user ID, which is going to be up here. Yours is probably going to be a string of letters and numbers, and then it'll automatically get you into that Telegram. Second partner of the channel is NAMI Trading. It's a momentum and money flow indicator that I use for entry and exit confirmations. Like as we're coming down, if I see bull divs, I'll take a long. This NAMI is running a 50% off special. If you use my affiliate link, Divine50 is the discount code. You can get 50% off lifetime. It's a really great deal. If you are interested in NAMI, I suggest you do it while that discount code is still available. And then lastly, we have MEXC and Bybit, both really great, reputable exchanges. And the links for those exchanges, they're offering discounts on trading fees and also futures deposit bonuses as well. So that's it for that. Thank you guys for sticking around for that. Now we will get into the other altcoins. Okay. We need a mod in here. We've got, yeah, it seems like it's all mods posting, right? Dutchy, copy paste my link into YouTube right up your alley. Yep. Oh, Abir, welcome in, man. Welcome in. Abir, I will make you a mod because you're my thumbnail guy, and I just appreciate you too. So, boom. Okay. Now, there we go. All right. Massey33, are you Montreal Canadiens fan? Okay. Gonna hit 160 before moving up like ETH. Solana, yeah, I'll show you. We're gonna go through Solana in a second. We're gonna go through AVAX. We're gonna go through what was that other one? Hemi. Let me check up in the chat. I'm not in Crypto Savvy's Discord. No, I don't like Crypto Savvy. Maybe I was in there like 5 years ago for like a month, but I generally am not part of Crypto Savvy's. Not that I don't like them. I'm sorry. I think there's better out there. Let's just say that. And the people I appreciate, Jason, Frankie Candles, Jason Casper, Frankie Candles, Andy from Bitcoin Consensus. Of course, DeWald's in there as well. Those guys. And then I'm discovering Coons. Coons is really good too. He's the Elliott guy. He's so good. Okay. One of you guys posted for me to look at some weird altcoin I'm not seeing in the chat. So if you want to repost that, I will look at that too. But let's go into Solana real quick, guys. Solana is bouncing from our weekly level. Now on Solana, that's not Solana. There's Solana. Bouncing from our weekly level, but we did wick past it quite a bit. And if we look out on higher time frames here, I guess you can't even say a bounce from that, but we rejected the top of the pitchfork, just like Ethereum, we were looking for a rejection up here, but I wanted to wick up a little past it to hit that weekly level, and it was a weekly level and a 786, and we hit it, and we rejected from that area. So after we hit our box of resistance, nice big impulse down, we were looking to come down to this box between 200 and 203. We had a naked weekly point of control, a weekly level, a daily level, and the Pitchfork midline was right down there. Well, we wicked a little bit past it, but we are reclaiming it, and we do have some local bull divs on the chart, 4-hour time frame. You can see here lower lows in the price action, higher lows in the momentum waves, higher lows in the momentum waves. But NAMI looked really good as that money flow was starting to come up here. And I think it was on the 2-hour. Let me check. I was checking earlier today. 2-hour chart. Yeah, money flow. This is what looked really good. Bull divs here. Money flow bull divs on NAMI crossing up into the green. And remember, NAMI's a bit faster than Market Cipher B. So what I'm looking at right now, we saw that little deviation below the Pitchfork midline, but we broke back above it with this volume candle this morning. And so if we can maintain above it, if we can kind of do this, then I do think we can come up to the 382 or come up to that 0.5 here. And I'm just looking at a bigger impulse down. We kind of covered this yesterday, but we have our wave 1, wave 2. All of this is a wave 3. Now we're looking for a potential wave 4 up to the 382 or a wave 4 up to the 0.5. And then a fifth wave down. Now 187 is actually very important. It is our log golden pocket. Now, a lot of people, when they pull a golden pocket, I'm going to show you this right now. They're going to pull a golden pocket from the lows of this wedge pattern to the highs. If I can get it on there, there we go. And they pull that golden pocket and they say, wait, we already hit the golden pocket. Look at, we're bouncing from the golden pocket. But here's the thing. This is more than a 100% move to the upside. If this is more than a 100% move to the upside, then you're going to want to put it based off log scale. Actually, it's not more than 100%. So we actually could bounce. For some reason, I thought that was more than 100% move to the upside. So I guess, yeah, we're hitting golden pocket, and I don't think the impulse is done yet, though. I don't see a clear 5-wave structure in here yet. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we could come down a little bit more. Now the log golden pocket is just below. You can see that log golden pocket is coming in between 187 and 184. But I guess we are hitting the golden pocket. And if that's the low, then we would have to work out inside of here. Maybe that was the third wave. We got a 4 and then a 5 here. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be done. But even so, if we're looking at a bigger ABC correction, then you're now going to pull a golden pocket from the highs to the lows, and you would be looking to reject around 229 to 231, which makes perfect sense, actually, because look at where it's at the top of the Pitchfork band. So you lose the upper part, you reject from the top of the Pitchfork, you lose the band, backtest that midline. If you come up here, reject, then you're going to come down to the lower band. And where's the lower band? Your big support level below. So yeah, I do think in these two anchored VWAPs, remember these trend anchored VWAPs are so important. And that trend anchored VWAP we'd front run when we come down to this box. That's why I had a box down here, because it was the Pitchfork band in confluence with that anchored VWAP. And we have not tested it yet. I mean, we tested it in here, of course, but we haven't tested it for quite a while. So if we come back down there, if we're going to see a bigger macro correction here, then coming down to that anchored VWAP and that Pitchfork band of support could be a really good swing long opportunity. Locally, though, on Solana, yes, we are bouncing. Money flow on some of the higher time frames still doesn't look good. Like if we go onto the 8-hour chart, 8-hour chart, money flow is just about to cross over into the red. Now on NAMI, it's already crossed over into the red and it's starting to come back up with bull divs, showing that a relief rally is probably due for this. And if we're looking at, yeah, if this whole thing was an impulse down, then we could potentially come up to 231. But at that 231, because we broke market structure bearishly by breaking these lows, bearish break in market structure, now we have to look at least at the possibility of a lower high before another lower low. So if you long, like actually, I haven't longed yet on Solana, but this could be a good long. You know, if you did long that golden pocket, good for you. Like that's a really good, because look at the 1 hour chart here. Bull divs up the wazoo here. Money flow coming up here. And same with NAMI. You know, it was definitely a long opportunity, but we want to maintain above this pitchfork midline. So actually, if we come down to like this 198 level and start to bounce from here, like locally today, then we could look at taking a long from there and bringing it up to that golden pocket. Or to me, I'm still going to look at the bigger possibility of this, not this impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's more probable than trying to count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I don't think the impulse is done yet. So what I'm going to be looking at, like I showed you guys just a second ago, pulling it from the highs of 3 to the lows of 3, and we're going to look between that 382 and 0.5. Well, just like on Ethereum, that 0.5, we have some range highs right up into that 0.5. So 216 is going to be a level where I'll at least look at a rejection. If we start to SFP 216, then I will take at least 75% profit. Because if we're going to do something like this, come up there in a wave 4, and then we get our wave 5 down, then I will be looking at taking profit at 216. I'm not long yet. If we do come down very, very locally, so you'd have to zoom in on like the 5-minute chart here, and you're coming down on the 5-minute chart to hit the anchored V or the midline or the VWAP. We don't have local bull divs yet. Money flow looks pretty good. I guess NAMI is showing we could have some potential bull divs coming into that 198.5, let's say 198.5-ish. Yeah, and you could even pull a range, this sideways range here. We're bouncing from we broke above the value area high. We're bouncing from the value area high. If we do come down a little bit more, just hit the pitchfork and then instantly reclaim that value area high, that would be acceptable for me too. So you could look at a long on Solana. But overall, I do think Solana is in an unfinished impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5. Okay, that is it for Solana. Let's go on to AVAX, was it? AVAX here. Now, guys, AVAX, very, very similar. We had, let me zoom out to the 8 hour. We have our big accumulation range. That is this range that has been lasting quite a while. It was accumulation range at a macro bottom. We broke out of that range and we came up. Anytime you break an accumulation range, you're going to come up to your macro resistance. We came up to our macro resistance. That was the golden pocket pulled from the highs to the lows. That's your golden pocket there. And then it's also a point of control of our previous range. It was a daily level, a weekly level, a naked weekly POC. I mean, a lot of resistance in this box, a lot. We rejected with bear divs on the chart, and now we are dropping and losing market structure by taking out the range lows at 2822. Yes, we took out those range lows. Now we had a bearish break in market structure. So I'm looking to come down a little bit lower on, and we talked about this yesterday, actually. We talked about coming down and taking out 2822. We did that. I'm looking at coming down to the $26 level, because that is going to be the back test of your accumulation range breakout. On an accumulation range, when you break out of an accumulation range, you'll often have expansion to your macro resistance. You'll reject from that macro resistance. You'll come back down. You'll test that accumulation range, now flipping it into support, and then you see your next big explosion. So I'm looking at, if we come down to $26, it's a potential swing long opportunity for me. When we're coming down there, I want to see some bull divs on the way down. So if we're doing this and making higher highs and higher lows as we're coming down there, we're going to want to see some bull divs on the chart here with money flow bottomed out and starting to rise. But locally for AVAX, let's go on to the 30-minute chart. We are attempting to get back inside of this volume profile. Let's pull this. Yeah, volume profile, the value area low is at those prior range lows there. Let me get rid of that now. So if we come back down, we back test this level at 28.23, then I do think we're going to move a little bit higher. This was old. By the way, we did bounce from that level last weekend. I gave that level last weekend. We got a bounce to new highs. So it was a successful scalp trade. Now, we haven't actually hit the POC of this range yet. And oftentimes, if you see a deviation of the value area low and you reclaim and get back, find acceptance back within the range, you will come up at least to POC. So we could be looking at a bigger 3-wave corrective move here. Once again, guys, we're looking at a 5-wave impulse down. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. We could see a 3-wave corrective move to a wave 4, and then we could see our wave 5 bring us down to 26, finishing this impulse to the downside. So if we're looking at our scalp long targets, say we're going to long the back test of the VWAP and the value area low at 28.25. Then we're going to take our fib from the highs of wave 3 to the lows of wave 3, and we're going to look between the 382 and the 0.5. Well, with that POC being right there at the 382, I would say that's your next local resistance here. If we do reject from this area after first coming down here, reject from this area, that would be your nice 3-wave corrective move in a wave 4. And then you would expect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more 5-wave guy down to $26. And maybe then you could see a bigger reversal, at least to the golden pocket. Pulled from there. Oh, what I didn't. So maybe up to like that $32 level, or even the 786 around 33.5. Yeah, 34. Yeah, for now, if you're looking at scalping AVAX, you could watch that back test of 28.25. If you're going to hold that back test, that's a nice little scalp long position. Long here, stop is going to go below the low. And I would be targeting, actually, no, that's not a good long position, because my first TP would have to be this POC area. And that's only a 1.38. So for me, I wouldn't take that trade. There's much better setups. Now, you could look at waiting for it to come down, start to bounce, and then you could long it in here, and then your stop would go below that low, below the value area low, and you would be targeting this general area. That would give you a good scalp in there. Okay, let me check the chat here. Yeah, X-rated. I am X-rated. Yes, I'm from the USA. You're making money. You're doing better than most. Yeah, if you're making money, you're like better than 90% of the traders out there, because 90% of the traders lose money. Okay, I'm in Montreal. I think I'm behind in the chat. Ludong, I still am waiting for 26, because to me, this impulse is not finished. The one problem here I don't like about this is a 3-wave corrective move. And generally in your wave 1, you want to see a 5-wave move down. So that actually kind of throws a big wrench into that. Now that I'm zoomed in, that throws a really big wrench into this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Dang. Okay, so we would have to readjust that. Let me look at this. If we're going to pull a trend-based Fibonacci extinction, and we're going to look at a bigger flat correction in here. Okay, we came down to our 1.236 and our 1-to-1. We wicked past that 1.236. Did we hit the 1.618 is the question. No. Gosh. Because I was looking at the potential of this being a bigger complex correction in here, where you, and then now you'll, after finishing the complex correction, you could boost up. But if we hit the 1.382, yeah, okay, we are bouncing pretty much from that 1.382. Just like with Bitcoin, when it rejected at the all-time high at the 1.382, This could be a bigger flat correction in here, and then it's done, and now we're about to boost. I'm not so sure on that, guys. To be honest with you, I just don't know, as far as that Elliott wave analysis goes. Okay, let's see. Wait, your Discord account is blocked. Oh, on some other Discord? That's annoying. What's the E-log golden pocket then? When movement. Yes, Edgar says, so if it's more than a 100% move to the upside on that retrace to the golden pocket, you want to use a log golden pocket. Now, on a downside dump, if it's more than a 30% move to the downside, then that golden pocket retrace, you want to do it if it's more than a 30% dump to the downside. Sorry, guys. I'm just looking at the chat real quick. I'm trying to find that one coin that I said I would look at the beginning of the stream. It was like Hemi or something like that. All right, I just can't find it. Thoughts on Aster, A-S-T-E-R. We looked at that the other day. I believe we looked at Bybit. Yeah. So Aster looks like, remember we were talking about that 382, but we wicked a little bit past that 382. Did we come down to the 0.5? Yeah, you came down to your 0.5. So actually, Aster looks like it's going to be potentially continuing up in a 5-wave impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pushing up. Nice bounce at the 0.5. You've broken market structure locally bullish by breaking above these highs. You can actually even see that you're breaking above them and back testing them as support now. This does look like it could be the start of a little impulse itself. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. And then you might get a little correction in here and then another continuation. What I would be looking at, though, is this upper range that is forming. Let's pull that volume profile from this high and look at how we're creating a sideways range up here. So yeah, rejecting value area high of the range. We can actually now look at our smaller potential impulse if from the lows, from bouncing from the 0.5. If we pull a Fibonacci from the lows of wave 3 to the highs of wave 3, yeah, you could possibly come down to that POC, this area here, because you're rejecting from your value area high. And when you reject from value area high, you could potentially come down to POC. And that's also where your 0.5 is. If we're looking at this being a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then a wave 5 here. Let's also look, I bet you that's where our golden pocket is. So let's pull it from the highs, lows, golden pocket. Yeah, you hit your golden pocket as well. Bullish case scenario, and we do have to consider it because we did bounce from that 0.5 right here. We do have to consider we could make new highs on whatever Aster. We could that would be the scenario in a bullish case scenario. Because we bounced from a 0.5, it could be a wave 4. This could have been a wave 4, and we could be expecting a wave 5 to at least take out these highs. Now, in a bearish case scenario, it's a little bit confusing because it's a brand new coin. So, where do you start? Is this a wave 1? This is a wave 2. This is a wave 3. This is a wave 4. This is a wave 5. You don't really have a clear start because of all this launch junk there. But, oh, guys, hold on. I got to answer this phone call real quick. I'll be back in just 1 second. Okay, sorry guys. In a bearish case scenario, we're finished. The high is in here, and we're going to see a 3-wave corrective move down because we have broken market structure bearishly by taking out these lows right here. Market structure break. Because we broke market structure bearishly, we could now it's a greater possibility of putting a lower high. Where would that lower high come in? Golden pocket value area high. So now we can pull a trend-based Fibonacci extinction from the highs to the lows to the highs, and we'll put on our target zone. Yeah, and that actually, man, okay. So this here, in a bearish case scenario, the SFP into your naked daily point of control and your 1.236 target, boom, that would be nice. That could be a nice swing long opportunity if it's going to continue. Now, this is a brand new coin, guys. So remember, there's shenanigans going on. There's, Binance is probably propping it up a little bit, or who knows what's going on with this. So just be aware of that. Oh, Hemi. Yes, we'll look at Hemi. Hemi USD. Oh, it's a new one too. Okay. Is a base contender. You can check the chart, please. Yeah, it's market share. Okay, cool. Coin market cap says Aster top 5 holders hold 86.73% of coins. I don't Massey 33. I don't think that's a good thing. If 5 people hold almost 90% of the coins, that's looking for a pump and dump thing, or a rug in some ways. If they decide to sell. Exactly, Mark. Hyped by the BNB crew, they'll dump on your Aster. Okay, but let's go through Hemi. There's really not much we can do here. This is a brand new coin. Looks like, the initial launch, this is a range that's forming after the initial launch. Gosh, you're almost coming down to all-time lows here. You're rejecting the value area low. Honestly, market structure is bearish now. You got, by breaking these lows here. Let's see, where did we reject on? $43, so let's put that on log. Yeah, you're rejecting your 382. So you can see here, we're rejecting our macro log 382, or even if you take this off a log scale and put the 382 on. Okay, not on, we haven't rejected 382 there, but if you're on log scale, which this is a 45% dump, so we're rejecting 382, which means 382 rejects you in a strong trend or supports you in a strong trend. So we could expect that maybe the trend is going to continue until we take out the actual lows. Now these are launch lows, so it's just iffy. 12-minute, it would be nice to make one more low too, because then you could potentially get some bull divs here. If you come down here like that, bull divs, money flow is now curving to the upside here. But honestly, there's really not too much you can do with this here. You have your descending channel here. That was your kind of trend that you were in. Descending channel. You are breaking out of that. If you backtest this VWAP right now locally and you bounce, you probably are going to continue a little bit higher, because you have all this liquidity now, a liquidity trail of all these short positions here. So break out, backtest, and then you at least look for another little move higher. I'd probably look towards that golden pocket. At what is that? About 15.8 to 15 point. Yeah, 15.8666 to 15.95. Let's pull that range again and see. Okay. Ugh. I mean, I would be careful trading this. A brand new coin, no real price action established on this thing. If you're if you're bullish fundamentally on it, I mean, it is kind of towards the lows or maybe coming down to this VWAP at 12.6. You might look for a scalp long or a buy there. He's giving me a semi. Oh man, Mark, that's great. Advantis. Let's see. We'll check. Blowfin's the only one that has it. Brand new as well. Well, okay, we can at least look at this. I mean, this kind of looks nice here. A 1-2-1-2. That's your double 1-2. Here's your big third wave. And then you'd want to see a 4-5-4-5 here, kind of in that ending diagonal. But let's see if we invalidated it. So pull a fib from the lows of 3 to the highs of 3. Yeah, you are about to, if you hit, you're hitting the golden pocket. So you're invalidating that now as a double 1-2 impulse. If you hit this golden pocket, which pretty much we haven't quite yet, but it looks like we're going to. Man, there really is not too much we can look at. Let's look at a micro pitchfork here off this first initial push. And we'll go to, I mean, we're already breaking the skiff pitchfork down. I would say you're coming up to your local golden pocket. You might expect some sort of bounce here at this local golden pocket. But because that was of the wave 3 from this low, I would actually pull the golden pocket from this low and coming down to your VWAP. So if you come down to like 1.58, 1.57, the VWAP is going to be closer to the 618. So you might bounce from 1.58. But look at, this is like brand new, I think. That's not the right chart. Humble Eddie, which one are you talking about? Is that this chart here, Advantis? Maybe this one? Okay, whoa, okay. Much better. Gosh, okay. Well, it does look like right now you broke market structure bearishly by taking out these lows, and you came up and back tested those lows, and you're rejecting. Let's look at. Okay, you are bouncing from your 1-to-1 to 1.236 level. Three-wave corrective move, three-wave corrective move. So it could be 1, 2, 3, but you'd want this to continue down a bit more if it's going to break down. Yeah, coming down to that 1.236. You see that 1.236 below right at the golden pocket? If that's a corrective move, if this is going to be a corrective move, coming down a little bit lower would be nice to see. Hitting into golden pocket, hitting into that 1.236, and then you could get a bounce there. Looks like there is some internal lows in there from this little micro range in here. Let's check to see if we have any. Yeah, your naked daily point of control's down there too. Like I would say your level of support is between that naked daily point of control and that 618 1236. So if we're looking at that, you do have some nice bull divs on the chart actually here. Money flow coming up. We did break market structure also locally, more locally. If we go on to like the 12-minute chart, we had this bottoming range, and we'll pull this range. So I'd go from here sideways. Yeah, broke the range. We're back testing the value area high right now. But because you broke these highs, or even these highs, you broke them. Now you have a local break in bullish market structure. And so now because of that low break in market structure, you could be looking for a little bit higher here. Let's pull this. If you do bounce from this value area high, or even come a little bit lower and bounce from the golden pocket VWAP, you might expect to move to back test this value area high, low. Even POC. Value area low POC. So the levels, I know exactly what it's going to do? No, I don't. But the levels I'd be interested in is golden pocket, POC as a resistance, and then below this level of support, naked daily point of control, 1.236 and larger golden pocket. And then if you're looking at like scalping this thing, if you do think that it's bullish and it's going to continue up, then you could look for a long right now, or you could look for a long at the golden pocket VWAP. Yeah, and then of course if you break this, you break this golden pocket, then the 786 down below. Let's make sure we put that on log. 786 down below is going to be close to your value area high. Not too good of confluence there though. Yeah, you do have a fresh naked weekly down at 102. So like in the worst case scenario, if you come down here, I'd definitely be looking for long. Yep. Okay. Thank you, Humble Eddie. I think I have the right chart now. I think I do. And Omar, of course, man. Of course. Let's check Bitcoin real quick, see what Bitcoin's up to. Yeah, just chopping. Guys, it's weekend pretty much now because markets are closed after Friday. It's just weekend. I'm looking to come down to our local support level. You know, it could be a decent scalp long opportunity. Let's see what other coins. Let's look at Chainlink. Chainlink is taking out. We took out those lows from a Sunday. They were weekend lows. So we took out the weekend lows and we're back above the value area high, our macro value area high. To me, that is a good sign. And still, okay, let me pull that there. So yeah, back above the macro value area high. And now we do have what looks like, at least in this little area, a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got a nice 5-wave corrective move down. And now we could pull a golden pocket from the highs of the impulse to the lows of the impulse. And let's turn on our non-log golden pocket. Yeah. So that is the area of resistance that I'd definitely be watching. I bet you there's going to be a naked daily POC in there as well. Let's see. this thing will ever load up. Yep. So that's the resistance box I'd be watching above us, because it does look like we finished a 5-wave impulse down. Be aware you do have a naked daily point of control towards this little range here. So let me just mark that out real quick. And let me mark this one. So for now, because this does look clean, I mean, I'm actually kind of expecting to move up a little bit here. If we want to scalp this thing, you go on to the 15-minute and you look at this bottoming range that formed after Sunday's low. Yeah, so be aware. This is local resistance above. So local resistance, if we're going to reject and keep ranging, is going to be this area here. Naked daily POC value area high, 21.7 to 21.9. If you do reject that, man, let's just hope you don't reject that. I mean, if you reject that, the bullish case scenario would be that you're going to continue to just range in here, and it would be reject value area high, reject naked daily, maybe come a little bit higher to grab that liquidity, and then come down to your golden pocket and bounce. And that golden pocket's also going to be right around your macro value area high at 20.6. So let's pull a theoretical fib here from the lows to, let's just say we grab the liquidity. Yeah, your golden pocket's going to be right there at the value area low of your local range and at the value area high bullish backtest of your macro range. So actually, in that case, you would be breaking market structure bullishly by taking out that high. So here's the deal, guys. If you come up and take out 22.057, if you do that, then I would be looking to long this local golden pocket, wherever it's going to be. If you don't do that, then it's a little bit less clear on a long position because you're not breaking market structure bullishly. You want to see a bullish break in market structure. Yes, I mean, we have this little internal guy here, but that to me is not good enough. It's not enough for me quite yet. No, didn't mean to do that. Okay, Time Attack, what's up, man? Good to see you in here. Thank you so much for joining. Tim with Dick, welcome in. I'm in bed with a bucket of strawberry quark. Is that like ice cream? I know it's not. Okay, there you go. I know it's not ice cream, but it feels like it's my period. Oh gosh. Let's check XRP real quick. XRP is getting back inside this volume profile, which is kind of nice to see here. I don't like how in this move from Sunday's low to the retrace highs, did we hit the 886? Yeah, we hit the 886, guys. So this is a downtrend, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. If you come down and hit the 886, it does make it far less or far more probable that you take out that low. And we did bounce from the 886. So just be aware this could be a little bounce before continuing a little bit lower in your local trend down, maybe coming down to that area here. It would also give you some nice bull divs if you made one more low. What's up, big deals? Nice to see you in here. Yes, guys, please hit the like button. So we are going into the weekend. Expect it to probably be boring, at least Saturday. Now, Sunday, a lot of time on Sunday, we do get those volatile moves. Asian markets are opening. European markets are opening a little bit. Ooh. Okay. This is the total chart. And remember, we're looking for a potential distribution pattern as well. Here, we're losing the value area low, back testing it, and so far we're rejecting. Now, I think we could come at least a little bit lower to hit that Pitchfork midline at 3.62. Maybe even take out your range lows, 3.56. In this case, though, if we start to break this range down, like truly break this range down, we're going to come all the way to that golden pocket. That would be distribution to your local golden pocket. Not local, more macro golden pocket. And that area is going to be a huge area because it's your prior range value area high. Money flow still doesn't look too good here. Yes, you do have bull divs, but remember, bad money flow is always going to overpower one drive of bull divs. It might give you a little relief rally, but yeah, I mean, gosh, guys, this looks, this is scary to me. So this is the total market cap chart, and you can see here, higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves. You have bear dips confirmed on the 12-hour chart. Money flow draining out of the asset. Well, now you get your relief rally to make a lower high. You get your trigger wave here, and then money flow continues to drain out of the asset as this range is forming. To me, this just looks like it could be a distribution range that distributes down at least to this golden pocket. I hate to say it. I don't want to be bearish, but the technicals are showing on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, on Total, on a lot of things that these look like distribution ranges to me. Now, it's not, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't distribute, but based off money flow and momentum bear divs, it doesn't look good. Okay, there we go. Upgrade it once Chainlink hits $100. You know what? Let's check BNB too. BNB is coming down to that Pitchfork midline. Man, it does look, we could come a little bit lower here to hit this one-to-one target. But I did say, because we front ran our Pitchfork band of resistance here. So if you see a 3-wave corrective move and you start to bounce, you could come up and actually take that out before seeing the bigger, more aggressive drop. But BNB has been one of the silent beasts of this market. Like, it has been a beast here. What once was resistance now could be flipped to support, and then you can continue working your way up. There's no real distribution ranges up here like Bitcoin and Ethereum have yet. So what we could be forming is a distribution range in between this upper band and the midline. So you could do this, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, or Model 2 distribution, break it down, come down there, and then see what happens from there. So, but that's very early to tell right now. That's total speculation, but I'd be looking, mostly at macro highs. You don't see this. You don't see a breakdown, and that's it. And then you're going to break down. You usually see a range form. You'll usually see a range form. The big guys, the whales, are distributing and selling as retail's buying all this. Retail's buying the hype, buying all the highs. And smart money is super willing to sell it to them. Yes, buying $100 of Chainlink now. I bought some Chainlink. When was it? I bought 15. I bought 12, and then the other day. Oh, I actually do think I had a limit order set at 20.6. Not a lot, because I'm confident that Chainlink is going to break out. We broke out of this macro volume profile, this one that goes all the way back to November of 2023. Nice big break of this volume profile. back test it, and I do think we might work our way up to take out these highs. Up to like $35, 34, 35, 36. With some stops along the way. This doesn't look good, obviously. Bear divs on money flow. I think I'm a little bit biased on Chainlink because I like it and I hold some spot Chainlink, like a lot of spot Chainlink. So I want it to go higher, but I don't know if it's going to. If we start to lose this value area high, $18 and then $16, 16.5. You have your bottoming range here. Okay, so thank you guys for joining. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take off here. I appreciate all of you guys. We will get back to the charts. I might do a stream on Sunday. I'm not sure yet, but thank you for joining. Let's keep an eye on Bitcoin. I'm expecting us to come down to our local resistance. Now, it might not happen right away. We took out our range highs. Now we're back inside the range. We could get some bounces. We could even range over the weekend and wait till Monday to come down and take that out. But if we do take that out, you could at least see a bigger relief rally. And then, unfortunately, more likely to make a lower high and then another lower low to at least take out your 107.2K lows. You might come all the way down to 105 or 106 where your anchored VWAP is. Thank you, Mark Dutch. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I really do appreciate you. Have a good weekend, and I will see you